We are a growing democracy, but we face internal pressures of poverty, of corruption, of indiscipline, and some leaders in high positions lacking in supranational ideological breadth and depth. We also face external threats from some rich, resource-hungry nation states that are always looking for geosecurity excuses to hold us down. These matters I have spoken about, they know they attach themselves, they attack our country and the region quietly. And therefore we need to protect our young, decent state institutions that were built so far so that they can serve us better, they can serve us credibly, and they can serve us impartially. They should serve us without rancor and disagreements, and they should keep our social order. To do that, we have to work together to protect them. This means that we can often disagree ideologically and politically, but we still work together for the common goal. It is this reason why in 2005, those of you who were old at that time, the National Resistance Movement provided for a healthy multi-party political system when parties were restored and the movement political system ended. The reforms of 2005 included among them the financing of all political parties, the creation of a national consultative forum, and an inter-party dialogue, the one you hear called IPOD. They created, these reforms were created as vents to deal with things that tend to divide us politically. Now, these structures were not meant for fashion or basic symbolism. They were set up for the work of building state political structures that can endure conflict and keep the country stable and keep it safe, regardless of who is in government. We anticipated while we did these reforms that a time would come when people with limited ideological background would come into leadership positions, especially inside the movement. And we now can see it. Some 20 years later, we've been proven right. Now, rather than worry about those people who join, our anticipation was that we would have met them in these inter-party structures. We would have supported their rise, even if they might not be, at the time, they may not belong to the NRM. We did it because we knew this kind of leadership would not hurt our growth. It would keep our stability because we would have known these people instead of only picking winners at the top. By doing these things, we knew then, as we do know now, that this is how you keep the reputation of a country on the market growing. Interestingly, when you visit the pyramids of ancient Egypt, in a sense, you feel that whatever mistakes the pharaohs, the leaders of that time, ancient Egypt, did, that whatever mistakes they made in wasting resources on burial grounds, huge burial grounds, they, at that time at least, cared a great deal about how the world perceived them and how they would be remembered. Why does a modern Africa or a modern Ugandan state not care just as much how it is perceived? And it allows elections to be a choke point where investment cease, where capital flight measures are initiated by private sector, where disagreements reverse the progress we have made. Why? This is why I am putting forward 4 simple things that we can do in the next 5 months to keep jobs and exports work growing. First, that we tame our language and how we communicate and avoid tribal and religious talk. Even in our private conversations in our homes and offices, stop it. Because private conversations are often the ones that stream into the social media and they hurt our trade efforts. I can tell you this because I find this all over the world wherever I go. But guess what? Whenever I travel outside of Uganda, I am never asked about my tribe. Instead, as we all know, they ask me and any one of you traveling for the passport from your country. They ask me for the passport from my country and if I have a visa to the host country. But many of our brothers and sisters suffer indignities, whether they are ministers or business people, at these border points. Yet, when some come home, they revert to cocoons of tribe and religion in search of votes. They prey, P-R-E-Y, they prey on our people instead of providing issues-based leadership and campaigning on reality we face. The reality of limited private sector jobs in a fast-changing world that demands better negotiators for Uganda's place in the world.